everyone, my name is Luna and I'm here to catch you up on everything that happened in episode 100 of Campaign 3 of Critical Role, aka part 2 of Downfall. This is going to be a straight blow-by-blow recap, so if you would like lore explainers, then you can check out my most recent video, which I will link in the description. So, at the top of the episode, let's look at where we're at. Asha and the Emissary, along with Ayden and Z.A.H.A, are preparing to take down the Obtenerator engines in the Genesis ward. This engine is what hides the city from the divine eyes of the gods. S.I.L.A.H.A and Emissary, along with Umleta, are going to look for more information about the Aerovox protocol, a protocol which would send the Factorum Malleus's plans all over to Exandria if Aor caught wind of any threat to their plans. And Ayden and Trist will go with Father Milo and Arcadia to try and get access into the Genesis ward, which is a highly restricted and guarded section of the city, where arcane and technological experiments and machines are worked on. Before officially heading out, Umleta approaches S.I.L.A.H.A, coiling a silken rope and compliments his beauty, speculating on how much she could get for his parts. S.I.L.A.H.A asks how long she's been in the city, and she says she just, got here off the ship just like them, and despite his pressing, she refuses to tell the truth. She criticizes S.I.L.A.H.A, saying that she thinks he will use anything she tells him to just go off and do whatever he wants, and alludes to it having been a mistake to give the mortals arcane magic.
And when I look at this stinking heap of buzzing flies, I see one rotting stench at the center, and it's a gift that they never should have got. Why don't you take some responsibility for why we're all here cleaning up your mess?
On a very high insight check, S.I.L.A.H.A can tell that she is a little rattled and has revealed more than she intended to. Meanwhile, the emissary gazes upon the mural of the gods and tries to see the face of the Lawbearer. The mural shifts and moves as she turns to face him and asks if the Wild Mother is angry with her. When he replies that she made Asha sad, she says that it was a necessary action and asks the emissary to pass on her love.
Double, triple much, infinity.
Yes, if it strikes you to say so, my child.
She says she made the emissary as she felt that lines were converging, lines which she did not feel she could cross. She says that the lines become too complex when the gods interfere.
I could not advance past this point, my child. We have loved this world in different ways. And though my heart does not bleed or beat, I love this world and its people. Love for me does not mean sentiment, nor passion. Love means honoring the agreements we have made. I would have our children know that I am reliable.
She says to him that he won't be thanked for doing things in half measures, and as she says this, she touches his chest and he feels something there begin to glow. The Lawbearer then fades away. Ayden notices that under one of the benches here in the temple is a small piece of cloth wrapped around an object. He goes to sit down on the bench, kind of crossing his legs to hide the object, and begins to pray. The object then begins to glow, and Trist, in particular, feels a power, realizing that someone has prayed to her, the Everlight, sometime in the last week. She hears the prayer of this person.
Great magic we have bent to our will, weapons and engines and machines. No great mind now bends itself to my child. For all that I have learned of magic, I cannot seem to bend it to doing that one thing I would most wish. I know that you are gone. There is a magic to you that eludes us even now. Please, look after Alice. Look after my boy.
And sees an image of the person who prayed, who is an archmage of Aor. Trist shares with the group what she saw and felt and picks up the object, which is a book filled with ancient tales of the gods. The book predates the Age of Arcanum and talks of the time right after the schism when the betrayer gods had been sealed away, and it sort of signals a time of great hope and optimism when mortals thought that everything was going to be great. Trist asks if Umleta can sense a thread between the book and the person it belonged to, so Umleta uses a bit of magic to create that magical thread, which kind of shoots out of the temple to wherever this person is. As this happens, they all see an image of the Archmage's son, Hallis, bedbound in a hospital. Emissary can sense that the boy will not live to adulthood, but he could be saved with some divine intercession. It's clear that Trist wants to help this boy, but as Umleta reminds her,
let's see if we can get him well just in time to drop him out of the sky.
Father Milo, however, agrees to go see the boy in a way that is a little disconcerting.
Well, without faith, we are nothing. Let us hope that our way is lit. And he strides in this place as Arcadia. Nick's having a hard time.
I love him.
I'm having a hard time because I quite like him and quite despise him.
Yeah, same.
Welcome to Thanksgiving dinner.
The groups disperse and we first see Asha, the Emissary, Tasha, and Zahash, now invisible thanks to a spell from Arcadia, taking a tram to the Genesis ward where the obtenebrator engine is. Asha notices that something has been activated in the Emissary and goes and sits next to him, and then she sort of addresses the Emissary as if the Lawbearer could hear her through him, which maybe she can.
They need you. I need you. It's all breaking. And the others don't understand. Why did the ones who break, why do they understand? And the ones who kept their love don't.
She says she made a gift for the Lawbearer, a forest with rules. Asha seems to share the Lawbearer's view that they are negatively affecting the world every time they intervene. The Emissary presents the seed in his palm again, but this time it has grown into a large sycamore seed, saying that it is the Lawbearer's first forest as a gift for Asha. The Emissary looks upon Asha and recognizes that in a world where the mortals have turned their back on nature and the gifts that she provides, Asha, or the Wild Mother, is hurting. Meanwhile, S.I.L.A.H.A, Umleta, and Emissary find themselves in a glass factory in the Ars district. At the back of the factory is a giant circular lock. It's an aeomaton lock with 2 oculi.
An honor and a gift. We did not think we would be receiving you this evening.
The gift is mine.
As always, an honor to make a path for the chosen one. And the head spins around. And as
The lock opens up, revealing a speakeasy called the Ars Elysium, led by an aeomaton host called Chorus, who reveals that the proprietor of this establishment is in fact S.I.L.A.H.A, known here as the Chosen One. S.I.L.A.H.A takes them to a little VIP area and just gets like a little massage from an aeomaton there, but Emissary is like, what are we doing here? And S.I.L.A.H.A says he's been wondering, what is so wrong with the world and what is happening in Aeor, and maybe they should just let it happen.
Now, this is the thing about beauty, darling. It's all based on things that are finite.
You desire the end?
Yes, maybe I do. For the time that I have spent here, I have seen this, and I've witnessed it, and I've enjoyed it, and to think it could all be gone like that is beauty.
If it's an end you want, darling, I can make that happen. I have ways. That's my purpose. But I didn't work an entire lifetime to have it end before I experience the infinite.
S.I.L.A.H.A eventually acquiesces and says he will play along and that they can probably find some more information about the protocol here amongst the people at the bar. Umleta slinks away to do her own investigating. They go to see the bartender, 4X, a many-limbed aeomaton mixing all kinds of crazy drinks.
How have I been? Busy. Always busy. Hi, miss. Can I get you a drink?
No.
Forex, we're wondering if you could help us.
And asks them about the Celestial that arrived earlier today. 4X directs them to a cloaked figure at the end of the bar. All of a sudden, though, Emissary hears a tiny voice out of her cloak. It's the imp Slitch living in the necklace that she stole from the guy on the tram last week, who heard everything that the gods were saying and now knows who they are and what their plans are.
Listen, I am bound to the service of the military might of Aeor, but I would love a chance to betray.
Okay.
I am Slitch. You are, I think, if I am not much mistaken, maybe the goddess of death?
Oh, shit.
Just from some of the things you said, you were talking about death and endings, and I am very clever, and this is a huge, I think it should be obvious, this is an absolutely enormous opportunity for me.
Can I glean from my knowledge
Slitch is
of...
on the come up.
Emissary buys him a drink, and Slitch swears to worship her in exchange for living forever. A little lie from Emissary there. She casts invisibility on herself and joins S.I.L.A.H.A to approach the cloaked figure. S.I.L.A.H.A turns on the schmooze, but the figure isn't really buying it and says that he just wants to be alone. He sort of turns to leave, but S.I.L.A.H.A casts command to force him to stay. He then turns to look at S.I.L.A.H.A and they see that he is a planetar, an angel with huge wings hidden under the cloak. S.I.L.A.H.A says, "Ooh, you've been a bad angel," and the planetar recognizes who he is, that he is actually speaking to a god. And they roll initiative, the first initiative of Downfall. S.I.L.A.H.A casts Hold Monster, but the planetar shakes it off and starts to fly out towards the door. Emissary activates her Boots of Haste and attacks with a Shadow Blade. Then, because S.I.L.A.H.A is receiving worship from this place, it counts as being his domain, and he is able to push the limits of the possible, pulling the Aormaton door lock out and forward like a giant mouth, capturing the planetar into a tiny pocket space, or a pocket dimension. Meanwhile, Ayden, Trist, Arcadia, and Father Milo head to the hospital where S.I.L.A.H.A is. It's called Exceliter Hospital. It's really run down and dour looking. Father Milo, praying to the Dawn Father as he does so, melts the lock so that they can break in. Inside, they're found by a doctor, and they ask after S.I.L.A.H.A, but she says that he's no longer here. It's pretty clear, though, that she's sort of just being a bit cagey, and Trist persuades her to let them see him. As they move through the hospital further, they see that the outside of the building is deceiving because on the inside, it's actually quite bright and clean and well equipped. We later learn that S.I.L.A.H.A's mother, the Archmage Cassida, has been illegally redirecting resources to fund this place. They see the boy S.I.L.A.H.A, who is very unwell from a wasting disease, which the doctor says will take him sometime soon in the future. When Trist inquires about the boy's mother, the doctor summons her using a little magical amulet. The mother reacts very suspiciously and then panicked to the group's presence, but Trist shows the book and says that she was sent here by the Everlight. And then eventually Cassida realizes that it is actually the Everlight. Trist reaches for her divine power to try and heal this boy, recalling the last time that she did so, which was when she attempted to help the Lord of the Hells atone.
This is one of the only things I know how to do. And I've forgotten it. But I can still feel that ability there. And I think if this is the last thing that I do here, I would like to try.
Not only does the disease fade under the power of your light, but we'll go ahead and let 70 hit points stand as you look at a young boy, breathe, and be the maybe first person in Exandria to be a 0th level commoner with 70 hit points.
Cassida thanks her profusely and asks how they all got into the city, correctly guessing about them being in mortal bodies to get past the Latimus Princeps. The Archmage then shares her secret. She has been working on the Factorum Malleus, but she is part of a secret group, a secret society called the Society of Primes. And she says that they have the ability to join the gods in this war and they can kill one of the betrayers with this weapon and end the calamity once and for all.
Time and time again, you have had to come and defend us from primordials, from betrayers, over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm. Oh, God. Oh, God.
We are finally at the threshold where we can join you and make a difference, side by side.
This is fucking great. Oh, man, I love it. Oh, yes. Sorry.
I'm gonna love this. I'm gonna kill your brother.
This is kind of distressing for Trist, who doesn't necessarily want to kill the betrayers, who are, after all, family. Meanwhile, Ayden and Father Milo talk out in the hall and discuss what will happen after they have finished here in Aor. Ayden says the betrayers need to come to the table, but Father Milo angrily pushes back, saying that the mortals are just playthings, and in fact he demonstrates this by horribly puppeting the doctor's body.
Thank you. Something's wrong with that man.
I'll say, Milo, I may not be my father. For what you have put him through has hurt him deeply. But I am here because there was a time when we were young where we did not hate each other, and your jealousy blinds you, and your rage hurts us all. You laughed at me for supporting her, but never was there a braver moment than when she came to you. And I knew what you would do, and I knew that she must try. And I will not abandon her now, just as I wish we had not abandoned you and you us.
Father Milo skulks off outside, and Ayden taps into his divine magic to help heal the sick and injured here in the hospital. He also reaches out to the Dawn Father, the big celestial version of himself, asking to be allowed to be a light for mortality. But the Dawn Father shows an image of how vast the world is and how impossible it is for one man, even a god, to uphold all of it by himself. Over at the Genesis Ward, Asha, the Emissary, T.A.S.H.A. and Z.A.H.A arrive at some military grounds, and they can see over the buildings there is a large spire which is pulsing with energy. This is the spire of the obtenebrator engine shielding the city, and at the base of the spire is a very well guarded building where they assume the engine is housed. In the parade ground there is an old, uncared for looking tree, a gift from another sky city. Asha talks to some birds in the tree who tell her of the busyness and the industriousess of the city and how hard it is to find food or to find anywhere to nest. Asha takes an apple core from her pocket and begins to breed maggots on it, dropping it into the nest for all of the birds to feast upon, and the maggots also kind of fall into the ground and start to feed the tree, which has renewed life.
The tree. Mother.
How deep are your roots, child?
Deeper than they think. They believe they make walls, but they make only nets. There are always holes for life to find.
You are so wise.
I have seen more than a small tree should.
They will know how little of you it takes to break a wall.
The tree roots begin to grow and stretch out towards the building at the base of the obtenebrator spire, and they crack open a hole large enough in one of the walls for the group to fit through. Back over at S.I.L.A.H.A's speakeasy, Emissary and S.I.L.A.H.A question the planetar, who says that they did not come at the request of a god, but instead came at the request of their commander, a castriel, a lieutenant of the Dawn Father's army. The angel expresses anger at the continual warring of the gods and being left in the wake of the gods' truce.
You made us to be good. You made us to fight. It was supposed to be right. Sealing the betrayers. Putting them in the shadows again. I have slain devils for a century, thinking it was right, and then one day I am told to sheathe my sword. And a castriel comes to those of us who wonder why and says, do you know what they are doing? It's a war to us. To them, it is a squabble. If you wanted to make us to serve the gods, you should not have made us good.
These angels were created to fight the forces of evil to protect mortals, only to learn that the gods formed a truce to kill mortals. Honestly, it is pretty messed up. Emissary uses Speak with Dead and shows her true form to the planetar.
So sad. Do you think I do not understand the sorrow of responsibility?
The planetar is overwhelmed by the power of the Raven Queen's domain and tells her that the Factorum Malleus is protected by a dragon called Ataro and devils, fays, and fiends who have joined up with Kestriel's cause. He also tells her some information which confirms that while the protocol would send out plans to, or like many copies of the plans, the actual plans are stored under the Obtenebrator engine and they are sent out by a single scribe Aormaton. So they only need to take out that one Aormaton to take the protocol down. The Emissary, Asha, T.S.H.A. and S.I.L.A.H.A. use the vents to make their way to the Obtenebrator engine, where they burst in and roll initiative against a couple of constructs and some archmages. The emissary's armor begins to revolve around his form, and he charges the mage with double axe heads that grow from the seeds in his palms, and then he draws the mage into the spinning blades of his armor, grappling him.
Repent.
Thanks to the telepathic bond between all of the gods, S.I.L.A.H.A. and Emissary realize that they need to get to the scribe Aormaton as quickly as possible, because this attack on the engine room might trip the protocol, especially as one of the mages in that room has Misty stepped away. Emhira's raven flies into the room thanks to the birds chattering from Asha, and Emhira casts Arcane Gate through her raven so that both her and S.I.L.A.H.A. can step through into the engine room. Once they do that, S.I.L.A.H.A. then casts Dimension Door, taking Emhira along as well, down into the room below the engine where there is a massive scribe Aormaton holding the protocol with many copies of the weapon plans ready to send it. S.I.L.A.H.A. then...
My eyes go purple. And you just hear... And suddenly, this massive force of magic just dispels, and you see these arms come through, kind of grab onto what this Aormaton is, and just wrench it into me. And it's like, mission complete. And you just see me go, oh my.
S.I.L.A.H.A. now holds the plans for the weapon, which Brennan describes as a poem so beautiful it could convince reality to destroy a god. Above, in the engine room, S.I.L.A.H.A. casts a sphere of silence, preventing the archmages from being able to cast some honestly pretty nasty spells like Time Stop. With the help of a teleportation spell from Cassida, Trist, Ayden, Father Milo, and Arcadia also appear in the engine room. Trist casts Guiding Bolt on the engine, and Asha forms a spear of briarwood and flips off of the emissary's back to take out the mage who had Misty stepped away, basically completely obliterating him. T.S.H.A. smashes into the engine as Ayden casts Guiding Bolt onto it, and also grants T.S.H.A. an extra attack with a little bit of goading.
It's taking you that long?
With this extra attack, she is able to destroy the engine. The plan is all going perfectly. As the Obtenebrator engine winds down, winds begin to pick up as the Stormlord prepares to send a storm, and the group all rush back through Emhira's arcane gate, currently undetected. So, what is going to happen next episode? It sounds like we're in for a pretty big dragon fight, which should be fun, especially at level 20. And are we going to see whatever is in the emissary's chest come into play? Oh, and where did Umleta get to? She just disappeared and then never came back again. As always, I would love to hear your thoughts about this episode in the comments. What were your favorite moments? And what are your predictions for next week? If you find these videos helpful, I hope you will consider subscribing and liking, because it tells the YouTube automatons that the videos are good and it should show them to more people. If you want to hear about the lore behind this episode, like what Umleta was giving grief to S.I.L.A.H.A. for, then you can check out this video right here where I go into all of those juicy details. Bye!
I don't want to talk to my boobs.
That makes one of us. And you see,